continues. We're here up until 3 to 4 p.m. All right, so stay with us. We'll be right back as we tune in and listen to the newly inaugurated president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The head of state, presidents, and leaders of various countries here present. Former head of state, a great man, committed and highly honest to the development of this country, General Yakubu Gowon. My dear wife, the new First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu. Your Excellency, Vice President Kasim Shettima, and his wife, Nana Shettima. Senate President, distinguished Senators Ahmed Lawan, House of Representatives Speaker, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, and his wife, Salamatu. The Chief Justice of the Federation, Olukayode Ariwola, Your Excellencies, Governors, here present, the chairman of our party, APC, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, former APC interim chairman, Chief Bisi Akonde, and my brother and uncle, Chief Segun Osoba. Distinguished senators and honorable members of the House of Representatives, honorable ministers and members of the just dissolved National Executive, members of diplomatic corps, the royal fathers, men of the armed forces, I salute you for your sacrifices and the supreme sacrifices you've made for this country, for the men and women. We thank you. And we thank you the way today is going well. Gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my fellow citizens, I stand before you honored to assume the sacred mandate you have given me. My love for this nation is abiding. My confidence in its people, unwavering, and my faith in God Almighty is absolute. I know that His hand shall provide the needed moral strength and clarity of purpose in those instances when even it seems to have reached the limit of human capacity. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this day is bold and majestic, yet bright and full of spirit, as is our precious nation. as a nation, we have long ago decided to march beyond the dimness of night into open day of renewed national hope. The question is, and we must now ask ourselves, is whether to remain faithful to the work inherent in the building of a better society, or retreat into the shadows of our unmet potential. For me, there is but no one answer. There are we are too great a nation and too grounded as a people to rob ourselves of our finest destiny. The nation's journey has been shaped by the prayers of our founding fathers and other millions, and the collective sacrifices of us all. We have endured hardship that will have made other societies crumble. We have shouldered the heavy burden to arrive at this sublime moment where the prospect of a better future merges with our improved capacity to create that future. To the surprise of many, but not to ourselves, we have more firmly established this land as a democracy in both word and deed. The peaceful transition from one government to another now is our political tradition. This handover symbolizes our trust in God, our enduring faith in representative governance, and our belief in our ability to reshape this nation into its society it was always meant to be. My brothers and sisters, permit me to say a few words to my predecessor, President Muhammadu Buhari. Mr. President, former. You have been an honest, patriotic leader who has done his best for the nation you love. On a more personal note, you are a worthy partner and a friend, and may history be kind to you. For many years, Nigeria's critics have trafficked that the rumor that our nation will break up, even perish. They have even redesigned the maps. Yet we are here We have stumbled at times, but resilience and diversity have kept us going, and we will keep going. Our body may make us bend at times, but it shall never break us. Instead, we stand forth as Africa's most populous nation and as the best hope and strongest champion of the black race. As a citizen, we declare as one unified people, devoted to one unified nation, national cause, that as long as this world exists, Nigeria shall exist. Take me back to the old man sitting back there, General Yakubu Gowon. A cliche to keep Nigeria one is a task that must be done. If you are young or old, you will remember that. Today, faith and destiny join together to place the touch of human progress in our very hands. We dare not let it slip. We live high this touch so that it might shine on every household and in every heart that calls itself Nigeria. We hold the beam aloft because it lights our path with compassion, brotherhood, and peace. May this great light never extinguish. Say amen. Our administration will govern you only on your behalf, but never rule over you. We shall consult and dialogue, but never dictate. We shall reach out to all, but never put down a single person for holding views contrary to our own. We are here to further mend and heal this nation, not tear and injure it. In this way, may I offer a few comments regarding the election that brought us here today, to this junction. Yes, it was a hard-fought contest and was also fairly won. Since the advent of the Fourth Republic, Nigeria has not had an election of a better quality. I say so. The outcome reflected the will of the people. However, my victory does not render me any more Nigerian than my opponent, nor does this render them any less patriotic. They shall forever be my fellow compatriots, and I will treat them as such. They represent important constituencies and concerns that wisdom dare not ignore. Some have taken their concerns to court, seeking legal redress. That is their right, and I fully defend that exercise of this right. This is the essence of the rule of law. Over decades ago, our founding fathers bravely gave us this country to place Nigeria on the map of an independent nation. We must never allow the labor of those who came before us to wither in vain, but to blossom and bring forth a better reality. Let us take the next great step. The journey they began and believed in. Today, let us commit ourselves to placing Nigeria in our hearts as the indispensable home for each and every one of us, regardless of creed, ethnicity, or place of birth. To my supporters, I thank you. To who did vote for me, I thank you as well. I extend my hand across the political divide. I ask you to grasp the national affinity and brotherhood. For me, political coloration has faded away. All I see here are Nigerians. All of you. May we uphold this fitting, an excellent notion as a new Nigeria idea. My fellow citizens, Nigeria ideal, which I speak of, is more than just an improvement in economic and statistics. These things are important, but they can never convey the fullness of our story. Our mission is to improve our ways of life in a manner that nurtures our humanity, encourages compassion towards one another, and duly reward our collective effort to social ills that seek to divide us. Our Constitution gave us a nation on paper. We must work hard at bringing these noble documents to life by strengthening the bonds of economic collaboration, social cohesion, and cultural understanding. Let us develop a shared sense of fairness and equality. South must not only seek good for itself, but must understand that its interests are served when goods come to the north. North must not see the south likewise. Whether from the winding creeks of Niger Delta, the vastness of northern Savannah, the boardroom of Lagos, the bustling capital of Abuja, as busy market of Onitsha. You are all my people. As your president, I shall serve you with prejudice towards none, but compassion and amity towards all. In the coming days and weeks, my team will publicly detail the key aspects of our economic program. Today, permit me to outline in broad terms a few initiatives that divide our concept of progressive good governance and furtherance of the Nigerian ideal. The principles that will guide our administration are very simple. Nigeria will be impartially governed according to the rule of law, the Constitution. We shall defend the nation from terror and all forms of criminality that threaten the peace and stability of our country. We shall remodel our economy to bring our growth and develop the GDP much better, achieve the GDP much better than we have today. I assure you. Do that through job creation, food security, and an end to extreme poverty. In our administration, women and youth will feature prominently. Our government will continue to take proactive steps, such as championing a credit culture to discourage corruption while strengthening the effectiveness and efficiency of the various anti-corruption agencies. It has to be a continued work in progress. Security shall be top priority of our administration, because neither prosperity nor justice can prevail amid insecurity and violence. To effectively tackle this, we shall reform both our security doctrine and its architecture. We shall invest more in our security personnel, and it means more than an increase in number. We shall provide better training, equipment, pay, and firepower.
Why people just come?
On the economy, we target a GDP not less than 6% growth. We aim to accomplish all of this by taking the following steps: budgetary reform, stimulating the economy without engendering inflation, industrial policy to utilize the full range of domestic manufacturing and lessen import dependency. The electricity will become more accessible and affordable to businesses and homes alike. Power generation should nearly double, and transmission and distribution network must improve significantly. We will encourage various state governments to continue to participate in this effort, power generation and distribution of their own. I have a message for our investors, local and foreign. Our government shall review all the complaints about multiple taxation. And review various anti-investment inhibitions. We shall ensure that investors and foreign businesses repatriate their hard-earned dividend and profits home. My administration must create meaningful opportunities for our youth. We shall honor our campaign commitment of 1 million jobs and the digital economy. Our government also shall work with the National Assembly to fashion an omnibus job and prosperity bill. This will give our administration the policy space to embark on labor-intensive infrastructural development, improvement, encourage light industry, provide improved social services for the poor, elderly, and vulnerable. On agriculture, rural incomes shall be secured by Commodity Exchange Board, guaranteeing minimum prices for certain crops. Animal products, a nationwide program for the storage and facilities to reduce spoilage and waste. All of that will be undertaken. Agricultural hubs will be created throughout the nation to increase production and engage in credit, promote credit, engage in value-added processing. The livestock will introduce the best modern practices and steps taken to minimize the perennial conflicts. Through this, food will be made more abundant, yet less costly. Farmers shall earn more while the average Nigerians pay less. On infrastructure, we shall continue the efforts of the Buhari's administration on infrastructure, development of Nigeria, and you know how many railroad and water infrastructure are required. On fuel subsidy, unfortunately, the budget that I've glimpsed before I assumed office and what I've heard is that no provision is there for fuel subsidy. So fuel subsidy is gone. Subsidy can no longer justify its ever increasing cost in the wake of dry resources. We shall instead rechannel whatever so-called to fund into better investment in public infrastructure, education, healthcare, and jobs that will materially improve the lives of our people. Monetary policy. Though house cleaning, thorough house cleaning is necessary, the central bank must work towards a unified exchange rate. This will direct the fund from arbitrage to meaningful investment and the plant and equipment, jobs that are powered, that will power the real economy. Interest rates need to come down. Currently too high. Anti-people, anti-business. We have to work on all of those. To me, I know I've taken you through a winding time, a long time today. I will end this speech by assuring you that the mandate you have given me is not misplaced. The confidence is there. Hope is back for Nigeria. Just let us be united. Thank you. God bless Nigeria. God bless Federal Republic of Ghana.
Your Excellencies, most distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the inaugural address by the new President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency.
Yeah, I know what this is.
98.3 Mainland FM.
Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial. 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial.
Yeah, I know what this is.
98.3 Mainland FM.
The conversation still continues. Of course, the president has made his official speech, his first speech as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. My name is Sage Babalola. Fuad Said is, of course, here. And as guest, our next conversation is definitely going to be,
very interesting.
modeling of some kind of the president's speech.
Oh my
I was
goodness.
doing the very best I can. I had to become a typewriter. I was trying to, highlight some
Don't
of the
worry,
things
I'll help you. I have details here.
But then that's why it's good to work with, smart people, because Fuad Said has decided to, take that burden away from me. So it's very, very interesting. So, Fuad,
Yes.
there's a lot to talk about here.
A lot on the table.
I appreciate the fact that he took this one after the other. He
Yeah.
mentioned the sector. He mentioned what he's going to do.
Mm.
And now the conversation we're going to have moving forward is not because that maybe we have any doubt whatsoever about if he can actualize it, but we want to talk about, we know what it is, but the how, because these things sound really great. So let's focus more on the how he intends to achieve this deepening democracy. He spoke about unity. I mean, that's like, I'll continue to call for the prophet of some kind, because he did say before that he believes that most of his attention would be on, cohesion among all of the zones we have in the country. And surprisingly, he spent quite a number of time talking about the significance of cohesion and unity as a people in Nigeria. So Fuad, for you, he has, put forward a list. I don't think it's in any particular order. He just took it one
He
after
called it the
the
concept of good governance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Fuad, for you, what aspect of, the plans he has for the nation really, really, piqued your interest that made you maybe roll your eyes a couple times that how exactly do you intend to do this?
The biggest one.
Yes.
Subsidy is gone.
So, that was very interesting.
That was the
I
biggest.
chuckled.
That in fact is the biggest announcement from the new president in his inaugural speech.
Right.
And I think he was a bit careful about it. He talked about the fact that, look, he's been told that budgetary provision for subsidy ends
I believe
in
in
June.
June.
So as it is, for those that are expecting him to hit the ground running, I'll assume that this statement goes in line with that. Because what he has done with this speech is to tell Nigerians that subsidy, the almighty subsidy that we have always talked about, is gone. Now, Sid, you asked the question about the how
Yes.
with all of these things. If you want to do a quick rundown, again, I decided to put that as the biggest thing for me.
Yes.
Because it was the biggest thing before the elections. It's one conversation that Nigerians have always talked about. Look, he made that promise during the campaigns, or he made that statement during the campaigns that
Yes.
whether Nigerians protest from now till
Subsidy
tomorrow,
is gone.
he was going to remove subsidy. And on his inaugural speech, he didn't say, look,
It's
we are
there.
going to,
It's
he
gone.
said it is gone. So, again, on the issue of subsidy, there's a lot of how.
Yes.
Because, again, if you listen to the experts in the oil sector, if you listen to the players in the oil sector, their fears have always been, look, how do you remove subsidy without taking care of our local needs when it comes to petroleum products?
All right.
Because again, there are a lot of issues that needs to come to the table when it comes to your subsidy. Everybody agrees that subsidy must go because again, it's fraught with a lot of corruption. It's been a conduit pipe for all manner of illegality and fraud. But the fear of Nigerians is, look, if you remove subsidy the way it is, and we are yet to start to produce petroleum products locally, refined locally, and we rely on importation with an unstable currency when it comes to forex, What it means is that the price of petroleum products will continue to go up. But there are also people who think that, look, and I think that was one of the major discussions on Political Roundtable yesterday, that, look, there are still questions about the liters of fuel we consume daily. So maybe the new president has an idea of the fact that, look, the figures we give out every day as daily consumption is even
there's a big
fraud.
question mark.
There's a big question mark on it. Maybe we are not even consuming up to 60-something million liters that the NNPC churns out as daily figures, because there's a problem between the NPC and even the customs about what we consume daily. So if he has that information, we'll see how he's going to deal with that. The second question would be, look, Nigerians are worried, and not just Nigerians. I'm not talking about privileged Nigerians. Other Nigerians are worried about the removal of subsidy because of what they think the impact of subsidy removal will be. Look, there are still questions today. When we remove subsidy on kerosene, the price went from maybe 100 naira to about 1,000 naira. Now it's been how many years that we remove subsidy on kerosene? The money Nigerians saved, what did we use it for? Diesel was selling for maybe around 240 or so per liter, and we removed subsidy. Diesel liter is about 850 to 900 naira per liter. The money we removed, the money we saved on subsidy, removal of subsidy from diesel, what have we done with it?
Subsidy on electricity was removed as well.
Was removed. The monies we saved, what have we done with it? Look, because basically what the new president has told us in his speech now is that, look, whatever money is able to save from removal of subsidy will be channeled into infrastructure and other forms of development. Look, that is even the problem in itself, because Nigerians don't even trust all of that. And that's why people say that, look, we may not shout too much about the impact of removal of subsidy on diesel, because again, it doesn't affect everybody, but it does affect, because a lot of people in industry who run on generator will tell you that, look, their overhead costs have gone up. It's even one of the reasons why we may have a lot of unemployment. A rate of employment currently is about 44%, because factories have to probably shut down if they can't cope with energy costs, or probably downsize their employment, or probably maybe reduce salaries and all of that to be able to mitigate the effect of high cost of energy. So what he has said is that, look, the same narrative we have always gotten. I would have expected that in this speech again today, because this is now the time, he's now the president, we can begin to talk about these policies. I would expect that, look, it's not just to tell us that you're removing subsidy. Oh, this is what I'm going to be doing about our daily consumption. This is what we're going to be doing about ensuring that petroleum product prices remain stable. This is what I'm going to be doing to ensure that, look, our local needs are met when it comes to petroleum products and all of that. We didn't get all of that. Again, I'll be waiting to see how the organized labor responds to this. Again, it's a big one on the first day of the new president. He's made bold statements, heavy statements, and highly telling statements that I'm sure from tomorrow morning, or even from today, we'll begin to get reactions from organized labor, from industry players, and from ordinary Nigerians. So for the biggest one from me in this particular speech is the way he has addressed subsidy. It seems a president who is going to stick to his words, who will say things and stand by it. He said he was going to remove subsidy, whether people protest from morning till night, or for how long they want to protest, and he has done it with this speech. Whether he's going to stay with this statement, only time will tell. Now, for other parts of his speech, because too many good things here. But again, there's always been the how. And I must say that, look, all of these statements we've had from him today are familiar tunes. There's nothing unfamiliar here. We have always talked about
what are you going to do differently?
What are you going to do differently? And how do you implement these things? He talked about the fact that, look, it's going to govern by the rule of law. I remember President Muhammadu Buhari, when he came in 2015. That was when he said, no, don't address me as a former general. Address me as President Muhammadu Buhari. I don't even want to have the toga of a former military state, because I want to govern by the rule of law. Yes, to a great extent, we could say that, yes, he decided to govern obeying the rule of law. But, there are also, records of him disobeying court orders, picking and choosing which court orders to obey. So it's easy for the new president to say, look, we're going to govern upholding the rule of law. But, what he does in government will determine whether really he wants to govern and respect the rule of law or not. Now, he talked about defending the nation from terror and everything affecting peace and stability of Nigeria. And he talked about, the fact that he's going to equip our security more, he's going to train them more and all of that. I was hoping that he was going to talk about, look, working to ensure we have devolution of power when it comes to our security architecture. Yes, the army will remain central the way it is, but I was expecting I was going to talk now today about the issue of state policing. That indeed it was, look, this is the day to set the tone for what we are going to expect. But I suspect, and like I always said, one of our callers before we went on the break to take his speech said his hopes is on devolution of power, restructuring of the country. And if we talk about devolution of power, restructuring of the country, one of the major cardinal issues that Nigeria have always raised is the way our police is currently constituted. Are we going to maintain this central policing system because it suits the narrative of the president who wants that ultimate power? Or we're going to look at the common good of Nigerians and understand that, look, this unitary central policing system is not working for Nigeria and we need to break it down. There's no reason why we can't have state policing. Yes, the argument has always been governors will misuse it. The current policing system is still being misused by politicians. So it's either we are in between the devil and the deep blue sea, and I think the narrative generally is that, look, we need to devolve our policing system to the state level. We understand that one of the major problems has also been intelligence gathering.
Yes.
Local intelligence gathering is needed. So he didn't say anything about what he's going to do about state policing. It was completely missing. And so one would assume that all we have been able to take away from his speech is that, look, I'm going to fund them more, I'm going to train them more and equip them more. But again, if we look at our police, is it about equipment? Would you say it's about training? Would you say it's about funds? I think it's a structural problem. This speech never addressed the structural police problem we have in our security architecture. So that's also missing from this particular speech.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Speaking about, devolution of power and giving states, more power to control things. He, with regards to electricity.
Yes, I'm coming to that.
Yes, electricity. He did say that he's going to give, states the power to generate and distribute power. And as you know, the former administration had already started to, move some things from the executive list to the
exclusive list to the concurrent list.
To the concurrent list. So don't you think that the process has started? So maybe he might have made a blanket statement on, the security. We didn't hear him say what we wanted him to say. But don't you think that maybe these are some of the, the things that are under the reform that he was talking about that he probably didn't mention?
Again, I'm working with specifics now. Right. I'm working with what he said. I don't want to assume anything for him, really, or interpret anything, because, again, when it came to the issue of electricity, he was very clear about it.
Right.
That, look, what he was going to do with that is that this is the time for states to participate more when it comes to generation and distribution. We have always talked about the national grid.
Yeah.
That has always been the bane. This was a national grid that collapsed 99 times in 8 years. And, has been a problem, because the current structure we have is that, look, people are allowed to generate. But you get to a threshold, you are mandated to hand it over to the national grid. And then the government takes over transmission and then gives to distribution. So that chain is what I think is saying that, look, now it wants to devolve that. States can now on their own generate and then transmit, because, again, we need to unbundle this thing called national grid. We need to devolve it. Again, there are still a lot of missing questions here. What would he do with the subsisting agreements with these discos? Because we have an arrangement with discos. Is he going to revoke their licenses? Is he going to tear it apart?
Even the TCN.
The TCN too. There are agreements, there are pending agreements with the TCN and even the GENCOs too. So, maybe because it was a speech and he can't give all the details, we'll assume that, look, as the days go by, we'll get more details about how he's going to implement all of these things, because, again, too many hours in this particular statement. He talked about, of course, women and youth inclusion, that they're going to play prominent roles. Again, what prominent roles are they going to play? Is it in the terms of appointment? Again, for me, I always think that when it comes to women empowerment and youth, it's not just about appointments. It has to be about the structure of the country. It's about giving them that inclusion. It's about giving them that empowerment, that ability to thrive. It's not because, you say your government, you want to appoint women. That does not translate to getting women featured prominently in a country, really. It's about, look, how do women thrive in a particular setting, maybe in their businesses, in their domestic lives. Then for the youths too, I said it, when it comes to addressing the concerns of the youths, it's not about appointing youths or by saying, I just want, I've listened to you loud and clear. It's about the yearnings of the youths. They want some assurance. They want to remain in Nigeria and know that their future is secure.
After school,
what is next? Again, the issue of unemployment and all of these things comes to bear. They want to live in a society where they can stay back, raise families, and be proud that they are indeed Nigerian. So that again is a lot of work that he needs to do. He talked about budgetary reform, tackling inflation,
raising GDP to 6%.
GDP to 6%.
What? I don't know.
Too many things on the table as promises here. But again, I would assume that it looks like the most prepared president that we have ever elected, because again, like I said, he's a Tory politician. He was a senator, a former governor, and he has a long life ambition that he has now achieved. And one would assume that what he's putting on the table are things he has thought about, he has worked on, he has a model, he has a plans for, and wait to see how he's able to implement that. He talked about, investors, both local and foreign investors. And I think one other issue that I think he mentioned, again, I'll see how he's able to balance the need to raise our revenue from tax waivers. He said, the tax regime will be looked into.
Yes. Multiplicity of taxes would also be addressed.
Again, we need to check that. Because there's something we need to pick out from here. You can address the issue of multiple taxation, consolidate them into one, and still have nothing different, because we saw something similar to that in Lagos, where there were too many taxes everywhere.
Even in transportation, they made 800 naira for transportation now.
So it's not just to say, you want to look at multiple taxes.
So the price is the same, but on that one
roof. So we don't want to see you give with the left and collect with the right hand. So we don't have multiple taxes again. It's uniform, but you look at it, it's still the same thing. So it needs to address our tax concerns. Nigerians are overtaxed, businesses are overtaxed, and it's not just to remove multiple taxes and consolidate them and still have the same thing in a different way. So I think he needs to talk about that. He talked about review of anti-investment issues. Investors that they'll be able to repatriate their funds. Maybe for the first time, we'll get a president who assure airlines that they'll get their money. Foreign airlines have a lot of money that are still hanging here that they've not been able to collect. He talked about 1 million jobs and a digital economy. I think that's also a very, very big one. 1 million jobs, I think, annually. It's a very tall one to achieve, but it's doable, really. Because if you say 1 million jobs, through a digital economy, there's a lot of how that we need to ask him. But
the tech part of it, and we've not made a lot of progress.
He talked about National Assembly to fashionable bills for jobs, create policy for unemployment. I think he needs to work with the Assembly. Like I said, a lot of those things will be done through legislative procedures and policies, and he needs to have an Assembly that can support him on his policy drives. Another big one, he talked about a monetary policy that will ensure we have a unified exchange rate.
Yes.
That's another big one.
He said the CBN particularly. The interest rate, he spoke about that as well. So has to come down.
3 things about the CBN. And that's why we think that, there may be a different head of the CBN, obviously, because whatever he has said now is completely in variance with what the current CBN head is doing and the CBN is doing. So he talked about a unified exchange rate. So the idea of an official rate and a parallel rate market is going to end. How is going to be able to do that, especially for people who benefit from these 2 levels of the market? The willpower to do that, I will be waiting to see how he's able to achieve that. Then he talked about the interest rate. That is too high. I think he even made a statement that the current interest rate is anti-people and anti-business. We have always said that.
18.5%.
18.5 official. Commercial.
Almost 28%.
Commercial loan interest is about 28%. We have always said it is anti-people, it's anti-business. So he says he's going to work on that. It would have been nice to see what he's targeting, whether he's targeting single digits, and I want to achieve that. So he said quite a whole lot, but those are the summary for me. I think he ended his speech by saying that, he has a mandate of the people. He's not going to misplace it, and he wants Nigerians to be united and work together. The summary for me of the new president's speech, inaugural speech.
He spoke about agriculture as well. He said they're going to focus on, saving, or should I say, storing product, because we have a high level of wastage. If you remember, there was a particular time where we were trying to export yams, I think to Europe or so, and it was returned because
the storage arrangement wasn't
standard practices, because they would actually check this product. So it had started to get bad, and they had to return it. So he spoke about storage storage, and he spoke about the fact that farmers will spend less for production, and that does not necessarily mean that they would earn less, and people will be able to pay lower prices for the
so
goods.
many promises on the
I
table.
don't know how that is going to work unless we work on our security and farmers are able to actually spend less on production. I don't know how he's going to achieve that. Let's open the phone lines. Yes, let's open the phone line 0913.
The president has spoken to us. The first inaugural speech.
6,410. Again, we've said it that the president has spoken to us. So what do you think about what he has said and all the promises as reviewed? 0913 6,410 is the phone line. WhatsApp text messages 0913 6,430. We have our first call for this particular episode.
Hello.
Yes, hello, good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is tall order. From a tall height.
Oh, God.
We just hope and we pray that he's going to do exactly what he has said. If he's able to do all this, Nigeria will transform into another way. I hope so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the brevity. We're still taking phone calls 0913 6,410. I beg your pardon. Hello. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Welcome. Your name?
Voice of Patrick Okorodu.
Welcome. Please go ahead, sir.
Well, our new president, he has given us what he have on his paper. And I will pick it up from here. This is day one in office. Because they have started standing from today. So my own is say food is more lesser than it is right now because food is so high. So I believe if we work more in agriculture according to what we do that for us a year. You understand? Come to that food according to what we said. I believe that Nnamdi Kanu will look for us, and at the same time, President what's his name? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for calling. We appreciate you. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon to you.
Please, I want to confirm.
Your
You talk
name?
about border.
Please tell us your name.
My name is Emmanuel.
Yes,
Calling
Emmanuel, please can you turn down the volume on your radio first, please?
Okay.
All right. Please, when you call, try to turn down the volume on your radio. Hello.
Okay.
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Go on, please.
Please, I want to confirm the new president talk anything about border, open border.
No.
No.
Okay, the border is closed now.
He didn't say
He
anything
didn't say
about
anything
it.
about
whether
the border,
closed or
whether
open.
open. Yeah.
Okay, God will bless Nigeria.
Thank you.
Amen.
We appreciate the optimism. You can still send a text message 0913 6,430. That's if you're unable to reach us via the phone line. So let's take more calls before we go to messages. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
I called by Joshua.
All right.
Yeah, we listened to the president speech. If at all his cabinet he did not surround himself with the elements of Nigeria. Can you hear me?
We're with you.
If at all people like like MP more than and say, if he did not surround himself with these evil ones, that is when they will achieve. Because they have lived it on Nigeria. Because we've suffered a lot. But let's keep on praying that God should just make all his promises. God should threaten and he should not involve himself with those countdowns and do the right thing. That is just my own thing.
Right.
I've listened to him. We still have the life. So let's
Good afternoon, stage.
Yes. Welcome. Your name, please.
Yes, and good afternoon for Parad.
You want to,
For the president to be addressing the nation. So just take it easy and take it off one after the other. Maybe I go to Apple with all the promises. That is just my take.
Right. Thank you very much. Hello. Yes.
This is
All right. Go ahead, please.
my real subsidy. And the government that is coming into the power, they are voting to buy 15 naira. That is the full on the ground that we are going to face in the next 2 years at this moment.
Right.
How we are going to bargain in that area, that is the problem.
All right, you'll take them. Says hello, Sage, Sandra, and Mr. Okodwa's choices of the people, reflecting the true wills and yearnings of people, where Machiavellians in our polity would capitulate to a formidable quite low of the incoming administration, particularly at the federal, in Lagos and state. However, there must be accountability from the outgoing administration and possible punishment for the unpatriotic mismanagement of the country in the past 8 years to be among the main focus of the incoming administration. Thank you very much. A mixed party, but good administration. All right. Thank you very much. He's appreciating the analyst in the studio. Now, he says, speaking of, thank you very much for your message. It just went down. Let's go back to taking phone calls. Hello. Please turn down the volume on your radio.
Yeah, firstly, I would say congratulations to Nigeria. That means we will have a peaceful transition irrespective of where our interest belongs. The party said that at the heart, it's not there are problems that there are no excuse for people to make
for your correspondence, our correspondent that went, yes, we do have correspondents that, they had their eyes on the ground, so they were seeing everything happening. They're definitely going to give us, what they have seen so far, the body language of people, the dignitaries that were there, and of course the expectations of Nigerians and these dignitaries. I'll just leave the studio. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I mean that these are several people that do not practice what they preach. The only good thing that has happened today is a change of government. At least while they come out, the new person is coming in. I will only be surprised by all what Mr. President has said today if he practices what he has preached. That is, by the way, the diaspora to communicate to this listening to.
Work on that. We know that there are people that also want to contribute from outside the country. Thank you so much. Yes. The quality of the will definitely appreciate you. Formally call him Mr. Joseph, but I'll call him Ogadio because I can. All right, there. So thanks to Okpeyemi Akionde, we were able to talk to a number of to call in and give us your contribution. I just wanted to introduce them to you. This 36000.
Listen to the I really yes. If those things are really started, are they going to solve Nigeria problem? Yes. And the process on, even if I don't sell it out on the 5th, that's what we trade it on. Then let's separate the
Thank you very much for your contribution. The president has spoken. He has reeled out. So what do you think about the promises that has really shocked through every other aspect of our
the last week.
Prince Wyas, yeah.
Wow. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
In fact, it's a long speech. The man will let me put at the end. Wow. I thought there's a lot to say, but that is subsidy. I said, you going to cope now. But it's good to start from first like this. Let us react everything as later will become normal. And the secondly, about the Naira matter is talking about. If this matter be reversed, that's the issue. It can be suspended to pay free for qualified somebody to take over the central bank monthly. Because if it can be removed according to the law, if Lamido Charity can be suspended, this one too can be suspended. Even they need to pay visit. In fact, I wish Mr. President said because he spoke very well. In fact, it really interests me. I'm just saying now, it should work before. If you work before, better days is ahead. Good afternoon to you all.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for calling. Yeah. I was saying, well, I'm sorry. I'm used to Canada because I'm from Canada. I'm lying. I'm not. Anyways, we have a message here on WhatsApp, by the way. Somebody's asking that Fuad explains what the president said on subsidy. I think you've done that, but they're asking for more clarity on what he said about subsidy. Would you be willing to go over that again?
Very simple. According to the new president, subsidy is gone. And he attached that to the fact that the provisions for subsidy payment ends in June this year. And so basically just repeating the statements he made or the promises he made during the campaigns that, look, subsidy is gone and gone forever. That's what he has just said today. So on his first day as new president, inaugural speech, he's made that announcement. But what we are saying is that there's a lot that we're going to get as reaction. In fact, if you look at all of the media outlets, the conventional and social media, that's a trending issue now. The president has just announced to us that subsidy is gone. And I think it's trending because a lot of Nigerians are worried.
Yes.
We removed subsidy from kerosene. We removed from diesel. Here we are with petrol. Currently 185 official rate, 195 is on other filling stations. But now that he has removed it, how would Nigerians respond? What would happen to the price of petrol in our filling stations, which would affect everybody.
Every transportation, pretty much. And that's why I said inflationary shock would most likely be sent through every other, aspect of our economic life. And
that's what he said.
Are worried.
For the president,
please allow me 1 minute if you can. I don't know how you would feel, but the Dangote refinery, when they were talking about how it's going to, ease some of the financial burdens of the people, they're saying that at least, it's not Nigeria's refinery, but in a way, it might maybe cushion the effects that subsidy removal would have. How optimistic are you about that?
The GMD of NNPCL had told us that Dangote will not solve our local needs when it comes to petroleum products. He has said it, and I think Dangote has also told us his entire refining capacity can even take care of our local needs. If we are going to go by the NNPC figures of over 60 million liters per day, he can't even do that.
And 40% is for exports.
It's for exports and all of that. So it means that we're still going to be importing. So the issue really is about solving. I think there are a lot of issues with data. There's a lot of corruption in the system. So a lot of hours are still missing in what the president just said.
Right.
So, but we'll wait to see how that works out.
Let's go back to phone calls. Hello.
Hello?
Good afternoon.
Hello, sir.
Yes, good afternoon. Welcome.
Please, I called back. I want to get something about this subsidy. Is it that there's no more subsidy, or they have removed it, or that there are some plans now? Because to me, I'm a cycle driver. Now, we are buying at the rate of 250. As of this week now, there's no petrol at all. From Jusha, we are not so clear. So I want to know, is it that they have removed it so that the price will go up, or that there's nothing like subsidy?
We don't know whether the price will go up, but the new president has just said that subsidy is gone. So it's been removed. No more subsidy payment. That's what he has said.
Because we are buying at the rate of 220, 250 over in Jusha area, and there's no the petrol is not even available. I know what I forgot yesterday to get the little I used to go to church.
I think we just have to wait to see what happens, from tomorrow.
They should just stop playing all this gambling with Nigeria. We are tired of all this suffering and promising of all this. It's too much.
Thank you.
So wake up and do something. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, the budget provides till June, so that's everything there is till June. Once it's June, subsidy is bye-bye. Hello, good morning to you. Good afternoon. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Good afternoon to you.
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. This is Mr. Patrick calling from Vote.
Yes, welcome,
From
Mr. Patrick.
Yes, what I'm saying is that Mr. Boy should be arrested. That's my
Why now?
Thank you.
Why?
Thank you.
Let's calm down. Analysis will definitely continue by 2 p.m. The conversation will continue. We don't necessarily have enough time to take contributions anymore. The WhatsApp messages, fortunately, Fuad has been able to most of the questions that have been asked via WhatsApp. Opeyemi Akinyode is here. That's the head of our political desk. We also have Mr. Joseph Folorunsho, who's here with us in the studio. Remember, I called him Ogajo because I can, but of course, Joseph Folorunsho. Opeyemi Akinyode, head of our political desk, is also here. I'm pretty sure he's very well aware of what the president has said. He spoke about, certain sectors. He spoke about agriculture and what have you. So, as we're moving forward, by 2 p.m. we'll be back and we'll engage them, ask them questions of what they think. So don't go anywhere. This is Mainland 98.3 FM. The sound of Lagos is the inauguration coverage. That's what we're going to be doing for the rest of the day. Sage Babalola is my name. Let's take a short break before we have the next batch of analysts join us.
On the airwaves in your market.
Of course, the conversation continues on Milan 98.3 FM. My name is Omobola Sandra, and you are still hooked up to the inauguration coverage, the presidential, the gubernatorials, live from the studios. And we have with us finally from the field, Opeyemi Akinyode, our head of political desk right here at Milan 98.3 FM, and Mr. Joseph Folorunsho. They were at TBS. You should see them soaking wet. That's should we call that occupational hazard or because you mentioned something earlier on, Opeyemi, that it's a normal thing in Lagos during inauguration. The rains pour and all of that. One would think that there'll be better preparation or better things put in place to mitigate against situations like this, but it seems that they welcome it. They welcome the rains with the inauguration. It just goes hand in hand. But then, in all, what would be your assessment, generally speaking, of the inauguration in Lagos? Yes, Mr. Joseph.
Okay, let me start with Lagos. I only take first, and if you looking at inauguration almost in the whole federation of those states that are having a governor sworn in today, apart from those states that they still have a governor that is still there. If let me say security wise, let me just thank the CP of Lagos State and the security personnel in Lagos State. They've done wonderful. It was well organized. Despite some people were trying to rush, they were able to manage it. The men of Lagos State Neighborhood Watch, the police, the civil defense, the KAI, some few military there, they were wonderful. Then the rain, I think we cannot challenge nature. We can't challenge nature. But because it was TBS, it's only some of the maybe journalists, then the police that are on the field actually feel the rain. But those that are spectators and the rest of them, they have a roof covering their head. And some of us were just, but sometimes because we are doing report, we didn't know that there's.
Of course, and that's why I just concluded as occupational hazard. It's part of the job. We just have to get the job done.
Because if the rain can touch the governor, if the rain can touch the deputy governor, that's number 1 and number 2 citizen.
Okay.
Then which number of Okpe day for Lagos? Then which number you did?
7 million.
All right, that's just on a lighter note. We just as I mentioned earlier, welcome back into the studio.
Well, it's a big day. And then I think the biggest of it all had to be the fact that we finally have again another peaceful transmission of government. And it's been a lot of fears to the point that even some of the security agencies have come out to release statements. If you don't have any business around so and so area, don't come close. People have said a lot of things that you'd expect that would probably hit up the policy and all of that. But the most important thing is that across the states that we've monitored, from Lagos to Plateau State to Jalingo to Benue, it's been peaceful so far. And the biggest all had to be the one at the Eagle Square in Abuja. And if you listen to what the president have said, talking about Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, you would understand that beyond having political rhetorics, you certainly would know that the people need to have messages of hope, messages that will make them know that it's no longer business as usual. And when you have somebody coming to tell you that his administration would govern and not rule, when somebody coming to tell you that as long as the earth remains, Nigeria would not cease to exist. As long as all of those things, and I mean, he has said it. He
said that nobody should pity him.
Yes,
he actually applied for the job.
Yes, he said nobody should pity him, and he also said that he recognizes the rights of the people that went to court. And he again said that there's a renewed national growth, and Nigerians stand as the hope for the black nation. I mean, we're obviously the largest black nation in the world, 6th in the world at the moment, with over 220 million population. So, I mean, yes, the issues will always be there. It's part of our democracy. From 1999 till now, we've had good transition of power. Maybe we've not been blessed with the quality of leaders that we think we deserve as a people, but a step at a time. Growth, consistency, being deliberate, being intentional about developing the people is the only thing that will put us on the right path to having, getting the opportunity of living our potential as a people. And I'm really excited about it, Sandra.
And another way, joining Okwe again is, I say it here several times that God is so wonderful in this country. One, even those that claim to be God's spokesperson, God have shamed them. Because a lot of quotes, so people say
this table will not shake.
Exactly. I don't want to be on that table.
I'm not on this show
because there were supposed to be arrests, there were supposed to be tears, and there was not supposed to be an inauguration at all.
Yes.
That was supposed to happen.
I said the God in capital letter have shamed the other God in small letter. Who never send them any money? Even the small letter God didn't send any of them message.
Yes, but the interesting thing is that the inauguration happened and it was smooth, it was seamless. It happened.
Even rain even fall.
Another thing that we also should look at is the fact that the president, I wanted to say president-elect, the new president himself addressed the issue of people going to court. He said, of course, it's a normal thing, right, and he would defend anyone who would go to court as regards, who becomes what. But the truth of the matter is, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the 16th president.
No, you soon get used to it. I understand. You soon get used to it.
He's the 16th president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He has been sworn in. The inauguration went on, and he gave his first speech. What are your expectations? I'll start with Mr. Joseph.
My expectation is, one, I love his sincerity. I love his how do I put it? The way he addressed Nigeria, that we should not, it's going to be rough, but there is hope. Okay. One, the issue of the subsidy remover. And one trait of Bola Tinubu is he has been doing a lot of things that is unusual. And he will follow through it, and at the end of the day will be successful. If you look at what saying it, I think it was here, I said that if you look at the complexity of the police, Bola Tinubu, when he was a governor, he was able to carve out within the police, carve out RROS, which is still Nigeria police, and he made best use of RROS. Why they are still controlled under the police, IGP, CP. But if you know what RROS have done in Lagos in terms of security, you know that Bola Tinubu is a very brilliant someone who will look at a complex system and he'll be able to come out successfully from it. Then if you look at telling us that, you know, from beginning, he said subsidy will go.
It's gone.
When he was campaigning,
yes.
He said subsidy will go. It means that he know what he was looking for. Then secondly, why we say that Nigeria will be better under him is, if you look at issue of Muslim ticket, he said that is where I'm going. People were coming, in fact, people want to bring down the roof. The man insists, this is the way I want to go. You understand it? Okay. Then with all those things, if it's just as if he planned for the job, which many times never happen. Nigeria have been seeing people that, they just pick the person. If you look at Obasanjo was in prison after for doctrine of necessity, all those kind of things. Now that MKO could not, he was not around to be president. Okay, let's look for a person from that area. That's where Obasanjo came. Yaradua, we all know circumstances. Then the issue of Jonathan, they were saying no. In fact, a lot of protests that he should be the next person to succeed Yaradua if his principal is go to meet our ancestor. Then second term of when he now contested again, people say let us give him opportunity. What I'm saying is, if you look at from Jonathan, Yaradua, from Obasanjo, Yaradua, Jonathan, President Buhari, among all of them, this is my own personal opinion, Tinubu, he should be the best, the most prepared person, because I know from 2000, from
the most prepared person,
the most prepared person for this very, because
we'll
1999, from 1999, he had been making effort to see one day I'm going to give a shot to #1 citizen of Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Okay, do you think we should be cautiously optimistic, because now Mr. Joseph seems to be putting, the current president on a pedestal, and now everybody's going to, there's a lot of hope that is hinged on him. He said something. He said, yes, there's a lot, that Nigerians are going through. That's the president. He said this sometime yesterday, and he said, there's a lot that Nigerians are going through. I know all of this. I am aware of this. Don't pity me. I asked for the job. I am ready to deliver. And there's something for her said that, excuses is not, it's not acceptable from the president. Are you cautiously optimistic, or do you think that as former Lagos State governor, as a former senator of Lagos West in Lagos State, and 20-something years in preparation to become the president of the most populous nation and the black nation in the world, what are expectations?
The thing is, you can't control people's excitement, and that's where I would leave Joseph to his opinion. But I think we need to start from here. Looking for solution to your problem begins from you admitting that you have problems, and I think that's the right step that the president are taking, especially from his campaign line, renewed hope. Yeah. He knew that Nigerians wanted hope in 2015. He knew that Nigerians didn't particularly get what they asked for in 2015. In 2019, in fact, in November 2018, when former President Muhammadu Buhari indicated interest to recontest, he talked about taking us to the next level. Tinubu knew that we didn't leave that level we were, not talk of getting to the next level. Now, if you listen to most of the things he said hope is back for Nigeria. He knew we didn't have hope for a very long time. He said that electricity will become accessible and affordable. He knew Nigerians have suffered from bad electricity. He said that we'll review all complaints about multiple taxation. He knew that Nigerians are being taxed in multiple phases. He said that we'll revisit the economy to bring growth and development. So the first step is that he admitted that we have all of these problems. So, and if you look at where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is coming from, it's coming from a place of consistency in terms of building people, in terms of, for somebody to come out and tell you that the president of Nigeria is his lifelong ambition. He has had some huge political gains. Being the former senator being the two-term governor of the state, being the national leader of the ruling party that has, restricted access to the presidency, you would think that should be enough. But then, against all odds, with the whole Emilio conversation, with the whole all of the dramas that preceded the primaries, the activities at the primaries, the fact that a lot of people that you would think should be on his table in terms of his ambitions actually turned the table against him.
Shake the table very well.
And then when he won the election, he continued what he was doing. Now, I'm going to say this, and this is from the point of fact. Of all the candidates on the 2023 ballot, I am not sure there was any one of them that covers the nooks and crannies of this country the way the current president did.
In his campaigns.
His campaigns.
Yes.
Prior to his campaigns, there were states he went to 4 or 5 times, even after winning the primaries. So, I mean, you would expect again that for somebody that has handled an economy as big as Lagos, I failed to allow myself get into that line of thought and say because he assumed to have fixed Lagos. No, Lagos is a micro, is a tiny unit from what we have in this country in terms of landmass, in terms of the challenges, in terms of the peculiarity of the problems that most of the states are facing. But I think my joy is that it's a new beginning, even though it's still on the same political party. But of course, Sandra, when somebody says women and youth will feature prominently in his administration, that's something to be excited about.
Yeah, he got a loud applause.
That's something to be excited about. When somebody says that as long as the world exists, Nigeria will exist, that is what to be excited about. When somebody says that his administration will govern and not rule, what that means is that everybody's cards will be on the table.
So he spoke to the true Nigerian spirit,
Yes.
Because that's
every individual.
See, you are having difficulty with electricity. His speech has addressed you. You're having difficulty with representation, gender balance, youth inclusiveness. The speech has addressed you. You're having difficulty with identity. As a Nigerian, you're not respected anywhere in the world. That speech has addressed you. You're having challenges with the economy. That speech has addressed you. You're having challenges with security. That speech has addressed you. And the biggest of it all is the fact that on the first day, let us scatter everything. Subsidy is gone.
That's it.
Yes.
So it's not like we will sit down.
It's not romancing anything.
It's not like we'll sit down and review the subsidy committee. It's not like we'll sit down
even know who the Minister of Petroleum
and have a
will be.
meeting with the NMPLC. No, it's not that we will sit down. NMPCL. It's not that we'll sit down and wait for me to set up my cabinet. No.
Or let me consult.
It's a fact. It's a statement of fact. It's a statement that has all of the authority. Subsidy is gone. So everybody now will go back. And somebody told me on Thursday that even all of the people lobbying for posts, they don't even know where the thing is coming from. They said Baba has kept his cabinet, not even to his chest, underneath his skin. Because if you go to the chest, first lady can get there and see it. Underneath his skin.
Nobody knows what's coming.
See, we cannot go worse than we are right now, Sandra.
No. I think we're at the lowest point.
We have to tell ourselves the truth. Nigeria is at a breaking point, and we need somebody that will kickstart the engine. And when somebody said hope is back, I'm positive about it.
I think everybody should be positive about. I think, but then to everyone to his own kettle, or however anyone wants to see it. All right. So this just as you mentioned, there's a whole lot. I mean, imagine whoever is going to be the Minister of Petroleum, or whoever is going to be
Minister
for Finance, Budget, and National, all of that.
Attorney General.
The Attorney General.
No, Attorney General, it should be the one that I want to see the Attorney General.
Imagine all of these key people key stakeholders as regards oil and gas. Now that's what I'm saying. Imagine them being announced sometime tomorrow or sometime in next 2 weeks, and then they're like, boss, you've already announced that there's no the fuel subsidy is gone. However, if we look deep inside, the guy has made it clear, the president has made it clear that fuel subsidy is gone. So whatever he has put down, his ministers can come and change it.
Sandra, the thing is this. I think a lot of us need to know that the presidency of Nigeria is not a tea party. It's not something you wake up into. So if truly you're intentional about fixing this country, the moment you indicate interest to contest, you should have started looking around you to see the people that would most likely see. One of the problems we have with leadership in this country is that we've had leaders that had beautiful ideas, formulating these ideas, putting them on paper, but transmitting these ideas into the people that would implement them is always the problem. You have brilliant ideas, but have you been able to transmit these ideas into the minds of the people that will carry out your responsibilities on your behalf? Because the presidency is it's not something you sleep and wake up. You will age overnight. So if you have aged, you will go age the more. That's exactly what you should expect. So now, if the presidency is coming in with all of this energy, you would expect that the cry, the backlash that followed the prolonged delay of former President Muhammadu Buhari in releasing his cabinet, I'm not sure President Tinubu would want to start on that same line. It took the former president about 6 months before he released his cabinet in 2015. In 2019, after winning the second term, it took him about 4 months to recycle almost 80% of the same set of people. I'm sure the new president would not want to start on that part. A lot of us are looking forward to some key positions, Sandra. One is the heartbeat of the administration, which is the secretary to the government of the federation.
I think that's what everybody will say. The SGF, the chief of staff.
The chief of staff. Those are appointments that don't need the ratification of the Senate
by tomorrow.
Especially the chief of staff. Now, for the ministers, every ministry is important, no doubt about that. But you see, the Ministry of Justice, whoever is going to get to that position must be absolutely non-partisan, 100% technocrat. You don't have any business in getting involved in politics. You see the Minister of the Economy, or the coordinating Minister of the Economy. You see the Minister of Petroleum. You see the Minister of Finance. You see whoever is going to take over from Godwin Emefiele when he leaves as the CBN governor next year. All of these are key positions that Nigerians are looking forward to.
Speaking of Godwin Emefiele, speaking of the Minister of Finance and all, Aisha Ahmed, speaking of all of these people that are very, very key to our economy and whatnot, remodel our economy to bring growth. That's one of the key pointers that the president said in his speech. He said to develop the GDP much better than it is today through job creation, food security, and an end to extreme poverty. But then, monetary policy, he says something. The CBN must work towards a unified exchange rate. He mentioned a whole lot. And now you've mentioned the CBN governor, you mentioned Godwin Emefiele, who in recent times has had some very colorful situations.
He's a sober man now.
So in that particular area, because I wanted to come from the angle of the National Assembly, our lawmakers, and how important they are to whatever plans that the president may have. Okay, at the end of the day, because we had the conversation as regards the influence of the executive on lawmakers. So whether or not the executive, which is the president and the presidency, if they have good policies and good laws and all of that, how do you think the synergy is going to work? Because let's not forget that we have more opposition now, in the House. There are a lot. Not from one party, of course, but if you put all of them together, there's so much more than the APC members. So now, how do you think that synergy is going to work? I'm talking about all of these big dreams, these tall ideas, and then our lawmakers, the part that they're going to play.
I think, to me, you mentioned lawmaker. I think the president of Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces now, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should look at, you are looking at the lawmaker, should equally play side by side the lawmaker and the media, because you should have an open door policy for critique from the media, because sometimes the lawmaker may be in one way or the other, they want to massage the ego of the president. We should not term maybe those that will be in other political analysis of policy of government before, when they tag them as wheelers. You understand it? Because, for example, every one of us is a stakeholder. That the only area we can critique the government policy is through the mic or in the print or other way. But those guys in the House of Assembly, they look at their pocket, whatever they want to do. Oh, what is the need for me? But the media, so what is the need for every one of us. No media house. Every media will want to see, oh, how would there be security in the system that if there's a job in Benue that I need to go and cover, I'm not afraid of I will be kidnapped or I'm not afraid of anything. You understand? If there's a job that if there's anything going on in Zamfara, it's okay, I can say, okay, let's look for available flight. We will land in Zamfara, possibly in the night by morning.
Go by road.
Or go by road. So the media is very, very, and that is why from the speech, he said that he's willing, he will be ready for an open door policy. So one, what I want to say is this: the people that are going to manage his image can't. You should not look for people that will be insulting Nigeria, because this man go to Nigeria from all the 774 local government, beg them and say, do you know what, test me, I will do the job. So tomorrow you should not call any Nigeria who will complain, who will we are willers.
Again, in terms of harmonizing the system, we have three arms of government here: the judiciary, which is non-elective, the legislative, which of course is elective in terms of lawmaking, and the executive, which is supposed to execute the laws that are being made by the lawmaker. So the beauty of democracy is not particularly about playing the opposition. Playing the opposition does not mean you should be blind to clear realities. And that's where it comes in. Whatever is going to happen on the 13th of June, which is the inauguration and the convocation of the 10th Assembly, is going to be very, very vital to whatever President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu wants to achieve. So that's why I feel concerned that even the legislative arm is already having its own problems in terms of zoning, in terms of the democratization of the process. We're talking about 360 reps members. We're talking about 109 senators that should elect their principal officers. The same process that the president then, the aspirant, kicked against in terms of imposition towards the APC primaries. The same card should be made to play out at the assembly. Now, we're talking about an assembly that has more color to it. The Labour Party has about 40-something House of Reps members now. They have about 6 senators now. They have a governor-elect. I mean, is a governor, Alex Otte, I mean, sworn in today. So the opposition has gone beyond what we used to have from 1999 till 2023. That was either AC, it was either AD, AC, ACN, then PDP, then APC in 2015. Now we have the SDP, we have the ANPP, we have the NNPP, we have the Labour Party.
We have the other parties,
YPP, coming into the setup to give color, to give discerning voices to what we're going to have when it comes to criticizing the government. So my own concern is that the president will have to harmonize all of these three arms of government. And that's why I said who becomes the Senate president is very important. Who becomes the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice is very important. Of course, we know who the president is, and these are the three leaders of the arms of government. So everybody must come together, irrespective of your political affiliation. The people of your constituency don't deserve to be happier than the people in the other constituency. They cannot be more secure than the people in the other constituency. We are talking about the issue of security. There should be harmony in purpose. When we are talking about the issue of fixing the economy, there must be an harmonized system of fixing all of these things. Yes, there will be those different voices. There will be those alternative opinions. There will be those different ways that things can suggestively be done. But it doesn't take away the fact that the aim is to have a peaceful Nigeria. The aim is to have a Nigeria that is prosperous, and the bulk of the responsibility stops on the table of Mr. President. Nobody is interested in who becomes the Senate president as such. Yes, we want to know who becomes the Senate president, but we did not vote for the Senate president
at all.
No. We voted for the president. We did not even vote for the Speaker of House of Representatives. I voted for the president. I did not vote for the Minister of Justice. I voted for the president. So all of the responsibility still boils to the table of Mr. President. And what I'm saying is that I'm not saying all of these arms should not be independent, Sandra. No. They must have their control. They have their own structure. But there must be unity of purpose. And the purpose is that hope must be back to Nigeria. Happiness must be back to Nigeria. The Nigerian economy must be fixed. Nigerians should not be taxed from multiple sources. We must have harmonized exchange rates. We must have balance in the market. We must have control market forces. I cannot be buying bag of rice 18,000 naira in Nasarawa and be buying it 43,000 naira in Lagos. There must be something uniting and connecting and coordinating and controlling and harmonizing the system of government, whereby I would not be like a second-class citizen in another state in this same country. When the president said, as long as the earth exists, Nigeria will exist, he's not saying the people that want to live cannot live, but there's a process at which you can live if you want to live, and the process must be duly followed. There would always be agitators, but listen to the agitations. Don't throw them away. Don't applaud them. Listen to the genuinity in the agitations. If you want them to go, they can follow the process. They can go through the referendum. They can choose to go. But if they choose to stay, we'll have to find a way to work together. Nobody is saying the cases in courts is not valid. It is absolutely valid. 100%. We've seen the court throw out governors in this country. We've seen court throw out senators in this country. Maybe we've not seen the court throw out president before. But we've seen the Nigerian people vote out president before.
Yes.
So let us allow every arm of government to do their jobs and expect that whoever becomes president, we have the person already. If the court says otherwise, we still make progress regardless. But the most important thing is that everything that the president has said today will remain on paper if you are not intentional about bringing them to reality. Electricity will not improve, will not have harmonized in the tax system, will not promote the economy, women and youth will not be involved, will not recognize the place of the justice. We just want to have a system that will wake Nigerians and say 24 years down the line, from 1999 till now, we are still making progress.
All right. You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM, and we are looking at, the presidential inauguration, just looking, and also the ascension or the path by which the president took on his way to becoming the 16th president of the country. It's been quite an interesting conversation so far. I have Joseph Folorenshaw here in the studio. I have Okwemi Akinyode also here, and my name still remains Omobola Sandra. Let's take a trip back a bit, looking at the path that the president took on his way to becoming who he is today, which is the president of the country. He said it's a lifelong dream. Yeah. And there was a feature, or should I say a report, that circulated some 2 days ago, or some 2 days or so ago. I'm sure you're very familiar with that particular report from Muyiwa Adeyemi, in-house analyst in the Situation Room. And he detailed comprehensively and explicitly the path that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu took, to becoming who he is today. And, if you put it, you mentioned something earlier, that this is the only president that we've had that had the time to prepare, the only intentional president that we have, the only intentional president.
It's not situational.
No.
It's not situational.
Not situational, and not because every that's our local thing. Just came to mind again. But then the first intentional president that we have, so maybe we might see some changes. But then, with the path that he took, shaping him into who he is today, what benefit or what influence or what would Nigeria get from all of that experiences?
There would always be interest across board, Sandra. I remember in 2017, I followed a former boss of mine to Adamawa State, and we went to visit one of the IDP camps. That was in the heat of the old, Boko Haram and all of that. And right in that camp, in one of the IDP camps in Mubi, they were distributing Jagaban rice. We saw bags of rice that had Tinubu's name on the body. 2017 Easter period. Former President Muhammadu Buhari had not even finished first term. Not to talk of starting second term. 2 years into the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, they were already distributing Jagaban rice at that IDP camp. I can't forget the picture. What that means is that this is a man that is very intentional about his ambition. you can't. Some people say somebody is over ambitious. I think it's a way of limiting the potentials of people. Leave people to thrive on their ambitions. The only problem is that you should not be deadly with your ambition. You should not be desperate about it. But if you feel your strength can pull it, continue to do it. Politics is about being intentional. It's about consistency. It's about being deliberate. It's about being sincere. It's about being able to project what is going to happen. And you know the unique composition of this country. We are equally divided along different ethnic, along different tribes, along different religion, along different political affiliation. So your ability to pick little out of those spaces will eventually form who you become. Every region in this country is important for you to become the president of this country. There's always this third majority. There's always the 25% conversation, because we operate a simple majority system whereby it's about the numbers. 1 million, 1.1 million, 1.1 million gets it. It's as simple as that. Now, if you look at the path that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, had followed before he got to where he is today, I read a book by late Bola Ige. I'll try and remember the name. And he gave a chronicle of the Nadeko period. That was one of the darkest times in the history of this country. That was where people were made to fight for the soul of this country from the military. People were sent into exile. People were killed. Human rights was thrown away. But there were some people that stood and fought for the unity, the independence, the sustainability of this country. The current president falls into that category. Now, this is not patronage. This is fact. This is the realities that we have on ground. So when he became the governor of Lagos State in 1999, well, we know all of the dramas that followed, whether the primaries, whether this, the Funshaw Williams conversation and all of that. But he picked Lagos at a point where Lagos needed to pick up. For goodness sake, Lagos was driving the economy of this country until the FCT became the capital of the country. We moved to TBS today, and we're looking at the administrative building of the before we got independent. We're looking at the 25-story building. We're looking at the independent house. I was talking to Joseph at the venue, and I said this was the venue where the independence of this country was announced. Wow. Those are significant things. That shows how important Lagos had always been to the sustainability of this country. If you look at the numbers, it's on record that every day in Lagos, over 3,000 people come into this Lagos, and less than 100 leaves eventually. So for somebody to, in his own little way, we're not saying Tinubu was the best thing to ever happen to Lagos, no. But in his own little way to put the Lagos on, I've always told myself that, my friends, that Lagos can run on autopilot. It's not rocket science being the governor of Lagos. You don't have to be extremely brilliant to be the governor of Lagos. The civil service has a structure that understands itself. The business community in Lagos have a structure that understands themselves. So the growth for Tinubu means that he has reached out to the fars and the corners of this country. Where did the title Jagaban of Bogu came from? It is not the Yoruba title. It is not. I remember one time like that one of the leading Islamic scholars in the north lost his elder brother. Tinubu then was in that state as late as 11:50 p.m. to commiserate with the person that just lost his brother. We've seen this where he has extended his tentacle to Kano, to Yobe, to Adamawa, to Niger, to Benue, to the east, every single corner. So when you want to become the president of Nigeria, you need to understand see, Sandra, now let me break something down. When we talk about structure, now let's go back to this line. I know this can make a lot of people uncomfortable, but let's face it. The structure that would thrive on social media is very important. We saw how all of that played out. But when we talk about political structures that takes you down to the grassroots, that's what you need to become the president of this country. Where even where your schedule will not get to campaign, even where your reach will not get to campaign, some people will naturally pick up your cause and campaign for you. Not because they will gain anything from you. No. But because they feel like this person has been around for a while. This person has associated with us. When the market got burnt in Borno State, this person donated to us. When we had Agungu Festival, this person donated to us. That is how to reach out to the people. And ultimately, your ability to develop people that would further showcase their talent at the big level. Look at the cabinet of, well, this could be a disadvantage to the new president, by the way, because some of the people he groomed are the people that served in the immediate past administration. The Minister of Interior that has about 8 successful jailbreaks under him was his commissioner for works in Lagos before he became the former governor of Osun State. I'm talking about Rauf Aregbesola.
But he did well, you know.
And there were 8 successful jailbreaks. Even the one that happened in the heart of the country, the federal capital territory, Abuja, that many condemned criminals escaped, and a lot of them have not been arrested.
He changed, you know, prison facilities to correctional.
He changed the nomenclature.
Yeah.
Nothing changed. Only the name changed. Nothing changed.
And he announced a lot of public holidays.
Okay.
That's enough job. That's enough job. I mean, we know all of these people that worked under the new president. Raji Fashola, one of the leading ministers that we have in this country.
But he still has by the route to
he should help us in that place. We are dying in that place. See, in short,
public
please, Joseph, don't take me there. Please don't remind me.
That's a very sore. It's a very sore topic.
The only time I'm happy is when I'm in this studio. When I'm thinking of going home is a big problem. Don't take me to that part.
That's a very sore topic.
Don't take me there. So we have a structure where the president has shown the entire world that he has his boys everywhere. This is the time to bring your boys together. And see, I have a feeling, Sandra, that a lot of people will be disappointed when the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu comes out. I'm laughing. Because you can see names that you've not seen before. Some people just come from diaspora. Some people will resign their big appointment and come in and fix this economy.
I don't know about that, Okweme, because I mean, when we just as you rightly pointed out, what comprised of his own cabinet, then when you had the likes of Bernard Kabweze, you know, one would never think that a Lagos state governor in the southwest would pick someone. You know, speaking of that, you know, Matthew Okodwa mentioned something earlier that the major thing or the major focus for the president now is unifying the country.
Yeah, very important.
And I don't know if you've been listening to the phone calls that we've been having thus far. A lot of people are concerned about how you think the president is going to handle the Southeast issue and the Nnamdi Kanu conversation.
Sandra, before that, let me just add something to what Okpe has said so far. If you look at Lagos State under when Bola Tinubu was the governor, you know this issue of Jigibola in the health sector,
free medical
and the rest of that one is there. You call them the other one, the one-day governor of Lagos State, just for you to be grooming the youth, the young one.
At that tiny little stage.
Yes, that you can be after the educational exercise.
One-day governor
is.
Sandra, you win one-day governor before.
No, I did not. But we saw people that won, and we saw it was up until Fashola's time.
We don't know what
and then after Ambode, during Ambode's time, we didn't get that anymore.
Now, if you look at the other one again, if you look at under Bola then as the governor, Bola Tinubu then as the governor of Lagos State, many times you see governor. I know when Orji Kalu there as the governor of Abia State flew in through Lagos, and at this trade fair, he met all the Igbo communities in that. So he was making effort to unify that everyone in Lagos. Let's see how we can build Lagos together. Then I know the challenge that Bola Tinubu have now is, if you look at it, which I don't know what is going to be the action is going to take between now maybe and tomorrow. The challenge we have in insecurity, this is what I think is from it. You know, when the former army chief, who is now an ambassador,
Buratai.
Yes, you know, if I am a deputy commissioner of police, I am praying that one day I will become the commissioner of police. But by the time the commissioner of police time have expired, and you leave him there, it's as if that person is doing my own work, he's taking my own period. For me to give all my energy to that thing will not be there. If you look at the challenge of security, that man was there even when in terms of age, in terms of period that's supposed to live supposed to go. Everybody,
and it was delaying other people's promotion.
Delay
because you can't rise.
You can't rise. At the end of the day, it's possible that you will never be in that position, occasioned by age or the period of your work. Now look at the current, which I don't know what Bola Tinubu, the commander-in-chief, is going to do today, tomorrow. The current IGP, according to the structure, which is the law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. If you talk of age, it's supposed to go. If you talk of days years of service,
it's supposed to have gone.
But the argument that the Nigeria police force,
argument. The
that the Nigeria police force is giving forward is that 4 years is 4 years, and that Usman Alkali Baba still has a few years to go.
See, in my village, Sandra, in my
from
village,
the time of his appointment,
Sandra,
that's the argument that they're having.
Sandra, in my village,
and
assuming you are a farmer.
Federal High Court in Awka, Anambra State. I don't know, but then the Nigeria police have said, oh no, he's entitled to his 4 years and he will use his 4 years.
In my village, they say if you want to, you don't farm anyway. Like if you want to do ridges, you do it to your work.
That's why you don't use shovel.
So the Nigerian police will not say. Nigeria police will not say otherwise. If they say otherwise, the following that you have been removed.
Who is the person that will even say
who is the person to say it? But we are talking of the law. We are talking of. I think that should be the first assignment for the current commander-in-chief of the armed forces now. Are you going to, because you say you are going to believe on the rule of law? You are going to believe on the process. So this is forget about what the police chiefs are saying. What is this in terms of age? You understand it? Because these are the two things that will make you to stay in office as a civil servant. Either your age or the period or the year of service. Nobody talk of whether you have 4 years or 20 years.
It's interesting to note that it's not just the Nigeria police force. The immigration guys have also spoken out.
I'm coming there, Sandra. You raised a very important question the other time.
It's overlooked. I wanted to bring us back to that.
Now,
yes.
One of the most unfortunate things.
Look at that, former minister. Yeah, that's
who Isa Pantami is. He's a former minister. Power is transient. It doesn't live with you forever.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that, as much as a lot of us had, talked about the positivities in the last election, one of the big negatives that I picked out was the fact that we allowed that election to overtake our conversation about issue-based campaign.
Yes.
Remember, for over a year, on this station, every of our political shows, we kept talking about making the conversation issue-based campaign. What do Nigerians want? What quality of president do we want?
America,
what quality of leader do we want? And we started that path, and we were doing it very well. Then somewhere, the politicians probably sensed the unity in our purpose, and they brought the card of ethnic bigotry. They brought the card of tribal sentiment, and they put it on the table, and we fell for it. And it divided us helplessly.
Heavily.
It divided us hopelessly. It divided us to the point where people were putting their friendship on the line because of political affiliation.
People have blocked people.
People are now questioning friendship and trust and loyalty of many, many years on the basis of you're a Christian, I'm a Muslim. Oh, you are Abia Igbo.
Oh,
you are Taraba Ebonyi. You are so and this, and it messed all of the build up to the election. It happened in Lagos. It happened in so many other places. So, and I like the fact that everybody admits that we are at a very, very critical point. We've divided so bad that some people are praying and wishing for a day like this to not happen. That some people are even wishing somebody dead. Nobody has the key to life. A lot of people were saying, President Muhammadu Buhari, he's old. He will not. Even prophecies came.
Forget it. I'm dedicate one day for that.
This and that. The man has probably got into Daura now.
He is in Daura.
He's looking healthier than he was 8 years ago.
In Daura already.
I remember when he went to commission a project in Imo State. Hope Uzodinma was running after the president. The president was even looking stronger and fitter and healthier than the government.
Former general.
Nobody has the key to life.
No.
Now, we have a country to protect. Everybody has the right to their human rights. You have the right to challenge the result. That's why even the constitution allows that if you're not comfortable with the result, go to court. Challenge it. I've said it over and over again. Courts have thrown governors out. Court have thrown senators out. Court have thrown out of assemblies, out of rep members, local government chairman, have thrown them out. There can always be a first time. So what I'm saying is that let us allow the judiciary to do their job.
Work.
All of these unnecessary pressure, profiling the CJN, putting the names and the pictures of all of the judges on social media, putting their phone numbers, putting the faces of their relatives, all of these things just make you ask questions. Do we really want this country to unite? And the only person that can unite this country after God is the president.
Yeah.
Because that's why you are the grand commander of the Federal Republic. You are the commander of the seen and unseen forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You are the commander and the chief security officer of this country. What that does to you is that you have the right to call into order anybody that is misbehaving. Now let's go to what's happening in the Southeast. We must admit that it's a carnage.
Yeah.
That's the best one. It's a carnage. If it is in a sane society, some people should be charged for war crimes, for genocide, with what is going on in North Central and in the Southeast. People would randomly open fire at convoys and kill people, and nobody's going to question you. You would randomly go to where people are having functions or burials or wedding and kidnap people, and after ransom had been paid, you still kill them. You have the effrontery to pick up a serving House of Assembly member and behead him and hang his head at the market square, and nobody's being held accountable. These people are not ghosts. They live amongst people. We've seen videos where they will come out for parade and the people in the communities will be buying for them and be hailing them. So the president needs to be very intentional about ending the chaos in this country. If you want to unite us, you must bring justice first. It's simple. If you come to attack my village as a bandit or as an extremist, and you kill my father and my mother, and they arrest you, and after 3 months they bring you back to the society that they have reformed you, and they still use the taxpayers' money to buy you clothes and give you sardine and give you everything and tell you to go, and I'm here. You killed my father, you killed my mother, you maimed me, you left me with permanent scar for life. What happened to me finding justice? How do you expect me to see that person and feel happy, and I won't be thinking of hurting that person? So justice should be a two-way system. The offended should find justice, and the person that offended, whoever who's been offended, should face the crime.
Balance.
If you want to rehabilitate people, there are people that willingly surrendered, not prisoners of war. There are nowhere in the world where you rehabilitate prisoners of war. You capture them.
And the victim are
and
suffering.
the victim are suffering. People are made to pay tax on their own sweat. People are being attacked inside IDP camps. Imagine when you become an internally displaced person in your own community and they are still coming to attack you in that place. So the president cannot pay lip service to what is happening in the North Central and in the Southeast. In the last 1 week, more than 163 people have been reportedly killed on the plateau alone. In Kaduna, the killings are still going on. In Benue, the killings are still going on. So the president cannot pay lip service to what is happening in that place. He must be intentional about ending it. And the first thing to do is to make sure that there is justice. Is to make sure that everyone that has been touched, everyone that has been hurt, everyone that has been affected, everyone that has lost one thing or the other is made to come to a table.
Well, the president himself has said security shall be, his priority. He said you reform the security doctrine and architecture. I said you invest more in security personnel, not just increasing in number, but better training and equipment. But then, a lot of all this upsets that's happening in these places where you have in Kaduna, say for example, Nasir El-Rufai saying he's running a parallel government with herdsmen because, herdsmen now are collecting tax
in a sovereign state.
In a sovereign state. Thank you very much.
A democratically elected governor,
and the governor said that, so you have when you have situations like that, and then you have agitators in the southeast, okay, and then what is happening in Plateau? It's interesting because it's not like something happened. People just decided that these people are making us inconvenient, and then they just decided to start killing people. That's what's happening in Mangu.
Yes.
Okay. So if you have situations like that, it's not like some people, there's any genuine reason. It's not like there's anything. People died in Owo last year, and up until we don't know what is happening with that
they
case.
reopened the church. Everybody have moved on.
People have moved on. So insecurity or insecurity, because at the end of the day, somebody said, oh, even if we want to go from consuming to productive, and people don't feel safe, we're still backward and all of that. As regards what the president said, as regards training and investing more in security, which already has about 40% or so of the budget, what would you say?
If you look, let me join with Okpe. Let's start from the east. If you look at the issue in the east, it was wrong management of the issue in the east that actually make the east to be where it is now. The way we manage Nnamdi Kanu issue, this man was just busy. They were only going with flag then and asking for one question. The government then pull out all the machinery, this as if we are,
and started operation different things.
Operation this, Python
dance,
and the rest of them. So at the end of the day, we could not. When they were having something, they invade his house.
The dancers went with the beats.
So this guy, they invade his house, and at the end of the day, this guy escaped outside. And my own candid advice to the commander in chief is, please forget about what people say. If you have any way to put a call or call the DSS, I want to meet Nnamdi Kanu one-on-one. Because we are looking for lasting peace in Nigeria. Imagine that maybe some days to come.
Pandering to
no. See, for peace have its own cost. It has its own price. You understand? It has its own price. Whether you like it or not, a good percentage of people have apology to Nnamdi Kanu. They are sympathizers of Nnamdi Kanu. If he is the person you are going to use to bring peace
to that region,
I think it's not too big. You understand? Especially when a court of competent judicial and make a pronouncement, leave this guy. You understand? You started the DSS. By the way, why is he not?
Minister of Justice and the Attorney General.
Why do you not take him to the correctional center? Why is he with DSS? Those are some of the questions there. So imagine that if Nnamdi Kanu just land in Abia State or Enugu or Imo, they say this man is free. If you drop in the east, you will hear the sound.
Joseph.
Now look at the issue of every Monday. Sit. How will I be a president of a country
and non-state actors
are declaring
sit at home,
and the people are obeying?
And there's a democratically elected governor in that state.
Even civil servants don't go to work.
Yes. Now I take a little exception to what Joseph has said. I understand the fact that peace comes with a price, but where is the place of justice? That's the truth. Where is the place of justice? If you were able to tell people to buy into your ideology, and in the process of doing that, they went on rampage, killing and burning and destroying.
Are we going hold on, gentlemen. Are we going to hold someone responsible for the misinterpretation of some people?
So are we also going to ignore the fact that somebody's mission was misinterpreted?
It is again. What if it is? In a system, some people can just decide to give a person a bad name and go
just to hang it.
Yes. Who know whether it is some of these guys actually perpetrating some of some of what is going on in the East?
I also feel, there would always be victims of war. That's the unfortunate thing. There would always be.
But we must find lasting solution to what is going on in the East.
Lasting solution is so easy to say. It is so easy for you to think the president can speak to DSS and use his prerogative of office to say, let me grant this person this while he's taking treatment, let the case be sped up. If there's anything that you want to bring up against him, bring the cases out. It still boils down to justice. Sandra, let me ask you, what wisdom is it in it for somebody that was alleged to have stolen 8 billion or 3 billion or 5 billion
or 1 or something billion
to now come in for plea bargain and say he will drop 500 million and you will release him?
Well, I think that happened to our accountant.
Why are you to be in a position to even talk for plea bargain? You have a system where some governors stole the commonwealth of their people, money that are supposed to be used to save the lives of the people, and then you jail those people for 12 years, for 5 years, and then after 9 months or 13 months you release them. Let me tell you something. Now, this is not a backstabbing on anybody. Orji Uzokali was sentenced to 12 years in prison, and the only reason why he was let go was that the court ordered a retrial on technical ground. Had there been a retrial?
He's contesting for Senate president.
The former governor of Plateau State was sentenced to jail because he was found guilty of stealing over 2 billion of the people.
Past governor?
Former governor, not immediate past governor. Immediate past governor is Simon Lalong now.
Yes.
There's now Mufang that will probably join us in the course of the week on the show, by the way.
There's a lot of former governors.
Now, Joshua Dariye was jailed.
He has presidential pardon.
But the president released him. Jolly Yame was jailed. A Reverend Jolly Yame was jailed.
The
president released him.
Yeah.
So what happened to the people that have lost their lives because they didn't do what they were supposed to use the money they stole to do? That's what they call it, Commonwealth. It is everybody's money. So if you are saying that we should end all of this chaos, where's the place of justice? Are you going to come to me and say, for peace to reign? No. Each time I wake up and I see my father and my mother's grave, I should believe that was the price I have to pay for peace to reign. Excuse me?
I hate to play the devil's advocate here, but I'm struggling a little bit. So how do you justice? Yes, fine, but then peace also very important.
Yeah,
and both very, very important. We need peace, we need stability, and all of that. But then if we keep crying for justice, okay, and then there's no peace, how are we going to move forward? And then if we also say, we need peace, but then justice is not served, how do we move forward?
Moving forward, I pray, which your work I said to the next attorney general have a lot of work to do.
Okay.
Now, look at it.
Just hold on. Yeah, I know. Quick one. Wait, hold on. Time check right now is 3 p.m. Okay, we have just a few minutes more to take a break so that Okwem will be back by 4 p.m. and then he has the floor. But then you're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. We are having a conversation as regards he may have had a rocky path to becoming the president, but then the road ahead isn't smooth as well. Exactly, it's equally as rough and as rocky. So we're having conversations as regards that. Okay, if you have anything that you like to chip in, do well to send a text message or a WhatsApp message to 0913 6000 430. Send a text message or a WhatsApp message to 0913 6,430. My name is Omobola Sandra. I have Okwemi Akinyode here and Joseph Folorenshaw, who is on the side of peace, and then I have Okwemi Akinyode, who's on the side of justice. And I can't wait to see how they both come together, and then we leave as jolly good friends from this studio.
If you go back, there was a time that a list came about the issue in Boko Haram, those the sponsor of Boko Haram.
That never
nobody.
Okay.
They said the list is with the Ministry of Justice or Attorney General, and nobody do anything about that. Even when those people have been punished outside there, here we're just romancing that list. You know these brilliant officers that went and arrested a very deadly Wadume. On their way back,
they were ambushed.
By a uniform officer, the military then, who said that they did not know.
No, they were.
If you did not know, why? If you ambush officer. Why do you not level all of them? No. Why how manage the criminal, the person of interest? How did he escape?
And the people that are supposed to be your colleague were
that's supposed to be your colleague when you talk of your synergy among the security agency, those people to tomorrow. You know that guy. If you look at the case, when the judge end up charging him on offense that after some day the guy just walk away.
That is one other thing. When we talk about harmonizing the system, all of the security forces must work together. See, we cannot make progress when ministers run like their governors. When ministers are supposed to be members of the same cabinet are not even speaking to each other. How do you want to harmonize ideas? When people are feeling like in their own space they are gods, in their own space they are God, forgetting the fact that somebody is the president that appointed you. See, let's be sincere with ourselves. A lot of things went wrong in this immediate past administration just about 4 or 5 hours ago. And all of those madness, in quotes, must not be allowed to thrive in this new administration. You must respect the fact that as a serving minister, you're not, it's a privilege. It's not like you're the best available. And then you're not even doing the work for free. You're getting paid. A lot of things need to be fixed. Sandra, let me ask you, why would I be a former governor of a state and be a serving minister, or be a former governor of a state and be a serving senator, and I'm collecting pension at my state, and I'm still collecting salary as a serving minister, I'm collecting allowance as a serving senator? A lot of things need to be reviewed. And when we talk about justice, we're not just saying looking at the books or persecuting people. We're talking about having genuine intentions of reviewing the constitution of this country. If you look at the items on the executive list, they are items that have no business being on the executive list. What is the control of the armed forces? Why is it difficult that before you can get police response at the case, they will tell you they are waiting for order from above? Why is it that when the mining rules why is it that to dig borehole now in your town, in your compound, you need permission? All of these things are issues that should be deliberately discussed when we talk of devolution of powers. Make the job of the president less stressful. So when we talk about justice, it's not just having prudent or sincere judges. It's not just having a very upright and uptight Attorney General of the Federation. It's not just having a decent investigative system within the Nigerian police. We're talking about having a proper review of the Constitution. A Constitution that would, if I live in Zamfara, I would not feel less a Nigerian. If I live in Yenegua, I would not feel less a Nigerian. A Constitution that gives me the right, as long as I operate within the legitimate expectations of that state, I should feel happy, I should feel safe to thrive and grow and develop and expand and get myself the benefit I want as a Nigerian. That is what I say when I mean justice. I understand Joseph's position, by the way, that there have to be let goes, there have to be sacrifices that will be made. But how do you appeal to the conscience of the people that are fall victim of the sacrifices you want to make?
I think that has been resolved.
No, it's not. It is possible, Sandra. For example, you have people who are dead now, and you know circumstances warranting their father or their loved one, their caregiver dead. Why not the state pick up the bill of those people? You understand? This person, his father would have been there and take good care of him to any level.
So I'll be giving you 5,000.
It's not 5,000. What do you mean by 5,000? The education is there. You pick it up because because crime is either out of omission or commission. If you're supposed to protect us, you did not protect us.
You're also guilty.
You're also guilty of that.
True. You
are guilty. And because if you look at I've done a lot of work on policing in the world. It is only in Nigeria you have IGP. The Metropolitan Police, the highest officer there is a commissioner. You understand it? And when you have a commissioner of police in Lagos, we want IGP have ordered the commissioner of police to do A, B, C. Why?
And when the problem starts, it will bounce on the governor.
It bounce on the governor.
But the commissioner does not take directive from the governor.
So why not allow the commissioners of various states who are very competent? All commissioner of police in Nigeria are very competent. Why not allow them?
If they are not competent, they can't rise to the
ranks. Can't rise to that thing. Then sometimes cases going on, you now say, Abuja have called for the IGP have called for the fine. Are you not indicting that the security formation?
Case will happen in some states. they will say they are carrying the suspect and the file to Abuja. Between one state A and state W, the suspect have disappeared and the file have gotten
even aside that, I have a case last 2 years that were summoned to IGP office, and guy I told them, I said, sir, do you know that you don't have business on this case? They were looking at me strange. I said, sir, you don't have business, because the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria said if this thing happened, the DPP of the state would be the one to prosecute it, because it's going to go against that fellow and the commissioner of police of that state. Are you going to say take a case to court now and say IGP versus the president? You will lose that case in court, because there's no provision for IGP to prosecute a case. And many times taking a case to Abuja, if it is not maybe importation of arm or treason, it doesn't concern the IGP. Why are you calling the IGP in a case? These are some of the things that the current government should find a way to say, do you know what? Something happened in Lagos. Let Lagos State Machinery deal with that case. There's no reason for you to say IGP calling for any
Sandra,
case.
before we also leave, just 2 minutes. If the president says nobody should pity him, if he says he asked for the job, then let's go back to where Joseph started. That's the issue of being open door policy, listening to what the press are saying. We're not always right.
Yes.
That's the truth. People have opinions that are subjective, that is open for debate, but in the midst of all of those conversations, you get to hear what the people have to say. You get to hear where the shoe pinches. Sandra, I can never support justice when in my state I'm an internally displaced person in my own state. Some people, because of land grabbing, because of cattle rustling, because of banditry, they attack the village in the night, kill people, and then some people, the owners of those villages, are packed in one compound, unfenced, unprotected, no health, no benefit. I visited one of the IDP camps in Maiduguri during my master's program. Sandra, able-bodied women were bathing naked in the afternoon, openly, because those IDP camps don't have bathroom. They don't have toilets. There's nothing shielding them. There's nothing protecting them. In case you don't know, the number of girls in the northeast, northwest that cannot identify the fathers of their children, it will disgrace you. That's the fact. So if people still stay in IDP camps in this country, in their own state, then the president is not ready to give justice to the people. Return people to their ancestral lands and persecute the people that threw them out of their ancestral land. Simple. You will send me out of my ancestral land and occupy the land and bring in your cattle and feed them on that land. And I'm in the IDP camps.
All right.
They're still coming to attack them in the IDP camps. It's a long way from here, Sandra. A long, long way from freedom.
I think all has been established as regards, what is expected of the incoming president and what, we experienced under the past president. Now, especially under the justice system, the attorney general under former President Muhammadu Buhari, Abubakar Malami, senior advocate of Nigeria, once said that the rule of law is determined by... The rule of law is what the authorities determine it to be.
Our eyes so shaky.
That was what an AGM.
Our national interest. There was the one national interest came. The rule of law.
He said the national interest supersede the rule of law.
That's it. Just as they mentioned, where people say, "Oh, national interest, national security, for security reasons, we have to do these certain things and all of that." But we can't shy away from the fact that the past administration. Or the president Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu said something, and a lot of times he kept referring to the rule of law. It's very, very important at the end of the day, because the last administration where we had series of regular disobedience of court orders, using national security and anti-corruption as excuses and all of that, as it is now, there's this decline in public confidence in the judiciary, but then, just as Okwemi said, justice is extremely expedient. But then, above all, peace as well is also very, very important. I think I I think you both came to... There's a common ground.
No, there's no common ground.
There is.
There's a common ground somewhere.
I understand the place of Joseph. At the end of the day, if we say let's continue to push, more people will continue to die. So let us come together and say,
We
you know
can't-
what?
we can't-
We've touched you, but then our collective existence is very important. Not like it's more important than your pains, but it's also very important.
We can't keep having, internally displaced people.
So Joseph, we agree.
No, we agree. And I want to see, I want to see Sandra on serious note. I want to see a situation maybe after this speech of president, maybe tomorrow or any day. Do you know what? There's nothing bad if the president can open the mouth, call the state, you know what? On behalf of before, now, and even tomorrow, I want to apologize, and we are sorry for what we have done, other act of omission.
The former president, Muhammadu Buhari.
No. Sandra,
It's not those speech-making apology, intentional apologies.
He said, I apologize for my difficult choices that caused pains.
But after the apology, now told us that I can't wait to go and meet where the cow and the other one cow can easily be controlled.
We don't even know the number of the cows now.
I don't think
they have increased.
The point is, we have a new president, high hopes, high expectations. He said a whole lot, as regards every, the interesting thing, he said a whole lot as regards every sector. There's no sector that was left behind. Economy, security, agriculture, youth, women empowerment, all of that. He said a whole lot. Electricity, which is a serious problem for a lot of people.
Education.
And even, the interest rate. He mentioned something about the interest rate. He said something about education. He said something to the CBN. So in the next 100 days, there's going to be a huge spotlight, halogen lamp, if you ask me, on what the next steps of the president of the country, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I'm sure by this week, we should start getting familiar with some of his principal, officers that will be working with him. But then we're looking forward to the inauguration/election day of the 10th National Assembly, which is going to be happening in June. June 5, June 6.
Shaking his head. I thought
so it's going to be an interesting one. I can't wait to see the face-off. Akpabio.
See, Sandra, it's not
there's Abdulaziz Yari, former governor of Zamfara State.
Not prophecy.
There's
Not prophecy. If we are not careful, we see drama. We may see drama.
The drama in that place is hotter than the drama on the street of general election.
There is nothing that can shock me from the National Assembly anymore. Once upon a time, they used to throw chairs at each other. They do not
now
anymore.
The chairs are screwed. They can't remove the chairs.
Yeah,
now.
they do not do that anymore. But
this one they will throw the roof.
I know that, especially we in the media, we are expectant of the drama that's going to come, that's going to happen on that day. Whether or not the APC will be able to put things in order before that day, well, time will tell. But then we are looking forward to it. My name is Omobola Sandra. Time check right now is 15 minutes past 5.
Past three.
Apologies for that. Jaden and Somto will be on by 3:30. I'll be taking on Nonso and Madi. And then, of course, by 4 p.m., Okwemi Akinyode will be back on air in the Situation Room. Bring you up to speed from the other side of the table now. Stay with us. This is Mainland.
I don't even feel like being on that. I feel like being yesterday.
This is Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. Thank you very much, Joseph, for Lauren Shaw.